What's up, you guys? I'm here at SlimXTeamSymmetry, here to bring you guys a new video today. I'm here to actually profile my updated Dark World deck list. A lot of people have been messaging me over the last couple of weeks asking me, Slim, Dark Worlds are still good, what's your new variant of the deck? And I haven't actually put as much time into Dark World as I used to, just for the fact that when it first came out, it was really intriguing, and now the deck has only, of course, won only one YCS, and it's done decent at other YCSs, but it hasn't done what I would call spectacular. I feel that the deck can lose to just really bad draws, but that happens, with pretty much any deck in the game right now. But I have been working on a new variant of it. I actually modeled my version off of Edward Toussaint's top 8 version from YCS Miami. I'm sure you guys have seen that profile. It's on my channel. A really great guy. I got to see him again at YCS Austin. I was just talking about the deck with him. He ran it again at YCS Austin, so I got to, ask him a couple questions and just, get some general ideas for the deck that I really enjoyed. And also, I've been talking to my friend Marshall, aka Dark World Mofo. You guys probably know him. If you don't, channel annotation will be up here. Definitely go check him out. Really great guy. Really knows his stuff when it comes to Dark World. He is just he totally encourages the people to play the deck. He's all about Dark World, and has a lot of good knowledge of the deck. He's done very well with the deck. He used it at ARGs, one of ARGs like locals or whatever it was, like big locals, to win a prize card. He ended up winning with the deck. So I've been talking to him about different variants of the deck, and I decided to just go with it's pretty standard, I think, in my opinion. I think the deck's pretty standard, but this is the upgraded version of the deck that I have for this current format, and I feel that the deck has become a lot more virus based due to what is coming out, especially for Prophecy. Prophecies are going to be absolutely insane when they come out, so I feel that Eradicator is one of the best cards, if not the best card in the deck, and being able to combo it with Mind Crush is really crucial to winning. So hope you guys enjoy the deck profile. It's almost pretty much all hollowed out. The deck's great. I love it. It's still always going to be one of my favorite decks. I could even see myself possibly playing it at the next YCS, depending on how the format continues to shape up. But anyways, let's get into the deck profile. Alright, you guys, on to the deck profile. For Dark Worlds, we got, of course, standard 9 Dark Worlds, 3 Grapha, 2700 beater that never wants to die, absolutely crazy, 3000 with gates, gets to pop stuff, card is just busted, I don't even have to explain it. They never hit it, they probably never will. Same with 3 Snow, this card is ridiculous, searches everything. Everyone says this is the card that needs to get hit. Being able to recruit any card in the deck is absolutely busted, and it really is. Having this with like a Dark World Dealings with a drag down is just like, it's devastating, and it completely just like screws your opponent, because you get a card out of their hand with drag down, and you search a card for yourself, so you're netting a plus along with a draw, so it's absolutely ridiculous. Snow's ridiculous. Of course, 3 Brow for the draw engine. Card's amazing with gates, getting to draw 2 like a Pot of Greed. I still run 2 Silva. I don't run Beige. I haven't run Beige in a really long time. The reason being is that I feel Silva is much superior to Beige right now, especially in this format, for multiple reasons. Number one, it's big. 2300 attack, 2600 with Gates of the Dark World up. It's really hard for a lot of decks to get around. And 2600 is bigger than Megalo, it's bigger than a lot of cards, and it gets really quick pressure on the board. If you don't open with a Grapha or a way to get Grapha, you're able to summon this, and it's a virus target. That's really important. That's like the most important thing, is that this is a virus target, whereas Beige is not, because Beige would only be 19 with gates up. So I feel Silva is superior for that reason. And the last reason is that it's amazing in the mirror match. It's absolutely like devastating in the mirror match, because if your opponent card Ds you or Dark World Dealings or whatever, and you discard this, you send 2 cards I believe to the bottom of their deck, and like they completely just like they lose hand advantage, and that can be the difference between them winning and losing. So this card is, I feel, far superior to Beige right now, and also for the main part that it is a virus target, it's big, and it just does a lot of really cool stuff. The way Dark World used to be played is people would use Beige to basically do like an infinite Grapha, basically spam quote-unquote infinite Grapha. You can kind of do the same thing with Silva, but the beauty of Silva is that you get a big monster on the field at the same time, and then you decide how you're going to use Silva, because a lot of people will be quick to bottomless, it's quick to deprison, and you can always chain a virus to it, so it's really good. And seeing as though you can special summon it, it really doesn't waste your normal summon, which I really like. 2 tour guides, self-explanatory. It's the deck that uses it absolutely the best. The Leviair plays are absolutely devastating. This card is runs best, I feel, in this deck. Of all the decks in all of Yu-Gi-Oh!, I feel Tour Guide runs the best in Dark World. And 2 Trans Archfiend. This is actually something that I added after I saw Edward's deck profile at YCS Miami. The reason being is that I never used to like this card, and I added it in because I noticed that I would draw sometimes these really great hands, and sometimes I draw these really terrible hands with Dark World. That's kind of how Dark World goes. And I realized the reason why I was not drawing the best hands is I was lacking a discard outlet. And then I tried Fabled Raven, I tried other cards, but I felt that Trans Archfiend was better for multiple reasons. Reason being that it's an immediate discard outlet, it gives a 500 boost, it then becomes a deck dev target. It's 2300 with the boost and with gates on the board, and I would feel that the best thing about it is that when it dies, it gets back to remove from play Fiend, whether it be a Dark World, whether it be a Tour Guide. You can do so many combos with this, so I really do like it. It basically makes it so Grapha never really dies. So this card I felt was far superior than I felt that it used to be, and I'm glad that I added it, because having that additional discard outlet with multiple effects is always beneficial in this deck. So that's for the monsters. It's 15 monsters. On to the spells. Of course, 3 gates. Card's busted. 3 dealings. This is my favorite card in the deck. I will never run Dark World without running 3 dealings. People have said cut it to 2s, cut it to 1s. Some people say don't run it at all. I've never understood that concept, and I will always run 3 dealings in the deck. The card is too good. Opening it with it and a Dark World monster, it starts your combos off, it starts everything off, and I feel that it's just literally the best card of the deck. Of course, 3 drag down. I lied. This is probably the best card in the deck, because this is the most dirty card in the deck. Linking your opponent's hand, taking a card from their hand, usually showing them a Dark World, knowing that you're going to get that plus is absolutely ridiculous. This in Mind Crush is devastating, you guys already know. This card really makes the deck. Like, it really does. If this card didn't exist, I don't think the deck would be anywhere near as good as it is. So drag down is just an absolute must at 3. 3 Upstart. I still run 3 Upstart because it makes the deck a 37 card deck. It helps you draw to your pieces faster. And now that Warning's at 1, you do give your opponent an additional 3,000 points if you do resolve all 3 Upstarts. But it's very rare that you actually resolve all 3. I've never had a lot of games. I usually resolve 2 of them. And with Warning at 1, the only card they're really going to Warning is the initial summon of Grapha, the initial summon of a Dark World to bounce for Grapha, or a Monster Reborn when you activate it. So I feel that with only 1 warning around, you can either Grapha Pop, you can get around it, and that giving them extra points means nothing, especially when you're beating down with monsters like Grapha and Silva. You immediately put that damage back on the board. And then Staples, Reborn, Dark Hole Heavy, self-explanatory. I'm running Allure. I used to not run this card. I felt that it was inconsistent. I felt that it didn't really help that much, but now that I'm running the Trans Archfiends, I feel that it really does help a lot. It helps me dig deeper into my deck to get to what I want, and since I'm running it with Trans Archfiend, if I decide to remove a Tour Guide or decide to remove a Silva, I can always get it back when Trans dies. So Allure is a really good card. Card Destruction, the fucking nuts. It should have been banned. Self-explanatory. And 1 Foolish. This card is ridiculous in the deck because you guys already know it's like turn 1 Grapha. Like, you open this in a Dark World, it's turn 1 Grapha all the time. So this card's amazing. I love this card. I never said this card out. And the last card I added was 1 Gateway. Edward ran 2 Gateway to the Dark World. He did not main deck Heavy Storm or Dark Hole in his deck. I felt that I still needed to main those cards because they're too good of cards not to main. So I opted and went with 1 Gateway to the Dark World. I like this as like an additional Monster Reborn. It's really good since you're running a virus-based deck. If you need to get to like a Grapha or a Silva that's in the graveyard immediately in order to resolve a virus, you have this. But I feel its best effect is when you end phase, bring back a Dark World, such as Brow, Snow, or Silva, whatever it is, and bounce it for Grapha, and then you have the Dark World back in your hand. It's really good, really versatile. It's also really good in those situations where your opponent tries to reborn Grapha. You just be like, no, chain Gateway, get your Grapha back. So I really like that card. So that's it for the spells. Then the traps. 2 Mind Crush. I'm really considering bumping it to 3. Right now I'm only running 2 because at times I felt that 3 could be a little dead. Sometimes you would draw the 3rd one, or you would draw it and you would have no cards in your hand to discard, and basically you could only set it as a bluff. And sometimes you'd have those hands where you'd have to Mind Crush and you wouldn't have a Dark World in your hand, and you would have like a normal spell or something in your hand, and it could be really bad. So I went with 2, but I do see that since we are running Virus Control, 3 could really be necessary. We're going with 2 Deck Dev. Deck Dev is not as good right now because of all the Firefist running around. People don't know this card literally hits like nothing in the deck. You hit a Rescue Rabbit, and if they're running Tour Guide, you hit Tour Guide. But it's so situational that I always side this card out against Fire Fist. Since Bear and Gorilla and Dragon are all over 15, this card really does nothing. But this card is amazing against Mermails. It's amazing against Wind Up, so I feel that you still need to run it. I could see myself, though, cutting to one deck dev to put in the third Mind Crush and then siding the second deck dev depending on what I play against in my matches. But for now, I've got 2 deck dev in there just to, because I do play a lot of Mermail, so I feel that I need this card a lot. And then, of course, 2 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. This is the best card in the deck. Reason being is that with the way the format is shaping up, as soon as Prophecies become the fucking nuts, this card completely destroys that deck. You resolve this against that deck, you pretty much win. Call spells, get rid of all their options, and they really have no... I mean, it's going to be very hard for them to come back. If you haven't won after you resolve one of these, then something went wrong, because this card single-handedly destroys that deck. And it's going to be one of the best cards of the entire format, because a lot of decks like Evilsworn and Dark Order are going to be able to resolve it against Prophecy and give themselves an edge in the matchup. Along with Mind Crush and being able to see the opponent's hand, you're able to really just combo off from there and win. So I really do like Eradicator. So that's it for the deck. It's 40 cards. Some of the things that I had considered adding were MSTs in the main deck. Dark Old Mofo actually had 2 MSTs in his main deck. The differences are, I believe, that I would have to end up cutting the Trans Archfiends, and I have to end up cutting Gateway if I wanted to put MSTs in the main. It is something I'm considering. I just have to do more testing with it. But when I link you guys to his channel, you'll see his updated version of the deck, so you guys can go from there. So that's it for the main decks, 40 cards. On to the side deck. The side deck is kind of relevant, kind of not, because this is just what I have in testing. If anyone wants to play me on DN, like whenever I'm on DN, this is exactly what you'd play against, because this is what I put together for the last time I ran Dark World. To get rid of the problem cards that really get in your way, I've got 3 Raikou, gets rid of Macro, gets rid of D-Fissure, gets rid of cards that get in your way. Along with 3 MSTs and 2 Decree for Macro. This is literally all just for Macro and D-Fissures, because those cards single-handedly just like destroy this deck. Like, it's so hard when they have a Macro up and you don't have a way around Macro, because you literally really don't have that many plays. And I mean, there's very little you can do outside of summoning Tour Guides. I feel that you need as much removal for the Macro and D-Fissures as possible. And ignore the sleeves, they're all a little different because I've been changing like different decks. But yeah, 2 Dark Smog, I love this card. This card is an excellent out to cards like Naturia Beast and cards that can really hurt you. Naturia Beast can just single-handedly shut down this deck if they resolve it early, especially in Karakuri. So Dark Smog is really good because you're able to get around Naturia Beast and then activate your spells again. So I feel this card's really good. It's really good in certain situations as an additional discard outlet. 2 Skill Drain for decks that rely on a lot of effects. Good against decks like Fire Fist, good against decks like Wind Up, Rabbit, self-explanatory. 2 Rivalries for Wind Up and decks to just run a lot of different types of monsters. Card's really good because none of the Dark Worlds are affected. None of the monsters are affected. They're all fiends, so this card's really good. And of course, the 1 Return. This card is game ending. This card can win you the entire match. All your monsters get removed. You flip this, you bring them all back. Shenanigans happen, and it's pretty much over from there. So that's it. The side deck, a lot of people are going to say the side deck's probably not that good. It's very basic. Like I said, a lot of things will change in here if I actually do decide to take this deck to like a YCS or something. But right now, this is what I have for the deck currently. Like I said, if anyone played me on DN, this is what I would be using if you wanted to play against Dark World. And then on to the extra deck, again, we got different sleeves just because I've been messing around with different decks. 2 Leviers. I noticed that I ended up cutting a Zen Mains for a second Levier because I noticed how many times I resolve Levier versus Zen Mains in the deck, and being able to bring back that Dark World to bounce for Grapha is just too crucial. Like, I feel like you need to run 2. I have the 1 Zen Mains. I used to run 2. I could see myself running 2 again, depending on just depending on like how the format plays out. 1 Leviathan for the turn run, gate play, Acid Golem because it's big, Tempo is the drummer boy. This card's amazing. That's it for the 3s. For the rank 4s, pretty basic. Utopia. Black Ship of Corn. You can win too many games with this card. This card's really stupid. I like it though. 1 Maestroke, broken against Fire Fist and a lot of other decks. Dweller for Mermail and Mirror Match. Gagaga Cowboy, very expensive card, another way to steal games. Card's really good, gets around a lot of cards. A lot of people forget about its first effect. A lot of people are going for its burn damage, which I do too, but I feel that its first effect is still something notable because it can get you out of really tight situations. Of course, the best card ever in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Pappy. You guys already know. People are wondering, I signed 78 Pappies by the end of YCS Austin, so this was awesome. And this is supposed to be a Volcasaurus. Ignore this. This is definitely supposed to be a Volcasaurus. I just don't have one, and I couldn't get access to one to make this profile, but this is definitely a Volcasaurus, because Volcasaurus is stupid how good it is. It's a one-sided Ring of Destruction. That card is just the nuts, and with the 2 Silvas, you can make it. A lot of people think you don't make that many 5s, but there are situations where you really will have double Silva, especially with Gateway in there as well. You'll have the options to have double Silva and go for your rank 5s. So that's why we also run Adrius. We don't run Tyrius. This card's better because it can immediately pop something. It's a fiend, it gets a boost, and it's just really good. In general, you don't have to attack with it, so I like this card a lot. And then 1 Heliopolis for the 8, because this card is ridiculous with Grapha and causes a lot of combos and is game ending. So that's it for the deck profile. I hope you guys liked it. Thumbs it up. Please feel free to leave responses with your version of Dark World, with what you feel is good in the main deck, bad in the main deck, side deck, etc. Like I said, the side deck and extra deck are kind of just haywire because I've been working with a lot of different decks, but I wanted to bring you guys an updated version of Dark World. And this is, like I said, what I have on DN right now testing. So anyways, once again, shout out to Edward, to San, and shout out to Dark World Mofa. Like I said, his channel will be in the description. Go and check him out. Got a lot of great stuff for Dark World. So I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. And, just thumbs it up, and thank you for watching.